Hi, it's Diederik Ellerman here. Welcome to week 3 in our month of better communication. And tonight, or today rather, I want to talk about the Knights of the Round Table. Yeah, that Knights of the Round Table. Excalibur, King Arthur, Lancelot, all those sorts of things. So you're thinking, you gone nuts? What's this got to do with vet? Well, it's got a lot of things to do with vet. And there were studies done over the last 5 years into what sort of table allows for the best communication, and was the Knights of the Round Table really round? And if it was round, why was it round? Why wasn't it square or rectangular or oval or something like that? So anyway, there's lots of studies being done on this, and I'll summarise them quite briefly. When a table is square or rectangular, and when participants communicate across a table, when the two parties or the two groups are interviewed or examined or whatever term you want to use at the end of the communication, at the end of the 15 minutes or the hour or whatever the conversation went for, they remember 1/3 less of what happened than when the communication was around a round table. I hope that makes sense. It's a little bit hard to explain. So when people communicate across a square or a rectangular table, there is 1/3 loss of information. So if I'm a vet and my client is here and I'm trying to communicate something to them about skin problem or a cruciate repair, about a pancreatitis, whatever it happens to be, if I communicate across a square table versus standing next to them or beside them, or communicate across a round table, then there is 1/3 less understanding by them of the information that we have shared. So I hope that makes sense, because I remember my consultation tables in my practice. All our exam room tables are rectangular, and typically we'd stand on one side and the client would stand on the other side. So when I think back to those days, I think, my golly gosh, these clients remembered 1/3 less than I wanted them to, which is just crazy. So let me give you some strategies to ameliorate that effect. So it's probably very, very unrealistic to throw all your old rectangular tables out and put round tables in. They're going to look a little bit hokey anyway. So that's out. So what you can do to ameliorate that effect is to actually stand on the same side of the table as the client. So if this is the table here, you'd both stand there. Or if there's a table, if the table is rectangular, stand across the edges of the table. So rather than standing directly across from them, stand across the edges from them, because that standing across the edges is more like we're on the same side, and that loss of information doesn't occur. So the more complex the matter that you're discussing or talking with the client about, the more that loss of information comes into play. So this is really, really, really important, a really important piece of information, and it's also a really, really, really simple fix. So I'm going to suggest that you share this information with all your veterinarians and get them to stand on the same side as the client, or at least across the angle. And before I move on, I've had quite a few emails and phone calls about what we've talked about in the previous 2 weeks come in saying, how do I learn more about this, or how can you help me implement some of these strategies in my practice or whatever. So if what we've talked about in the last 3 weeks or in the last 2 weeks and today, and what we talk about next week, the final of these 4 weeks, if you're interested in learning more about that and implementing it at a deeper level in your practice, please let me know, and I'm only too happy to share some more information on Skype or give you some strategies on the phone or whatever it happens to be. And at the end of the day, if you actually want me to come in and do a total staff training on this material with your team members, and we can practice and rehearse and role play as well, only too happy to do that as well. Anyway, I'll see you next week. Bye for now.